Become referable with a hub and spoke business model. The center of your business universe is the investor, the customer. By creating a business model that orbits around your best clients, you solve countless problems immediately. Hey, today I want to talk to you about the importance of running a hub and spoke business model. When you are in an intangible business, which is what the financial services world is, an intangible business, meaning we're not making widgets, we don't have assembly lines, we're not determining, what color or what material to use to actually manufacture something. We are in the business of relationships. Right, so we have a handshake, we have a piece of paper, and we have a promise. That's the world we're in. So much like the law industry, much like the accounting industry, much like the consulting industry, being in the financial services industry, we are in an intangible environment. So it is absolutely vital that you are operating on what many would call a hub and spoke business model. Excuse me, because what that means is that we want to have the center of the universe be the most important relationships that you have. And as a financial advisor, we all know that the relationship that you have is one with the investor, one with the customer, one with the client. And so that is the hub. That's the center of our universe. And we want to orbit around that relationship. So we want to have the hub and the spokes, and we want to circle and orbit around that center, that all-important relationship of the investor, the client, the customer. Now, I'm going to show you in a moment what the USA Financial hub and spoke business model looks like, because ours is very similar to a retail financial advisor. The difference being that the center of our universe is you. It's the independent financial advisor. And then we orbit around you with our various subsidiaries and our various offerings. But you need to think that way as well, because you don't want to run your financial practice as if it's a sole proprietorship, even if it is. You want to run it as a business, and your business has offerings. And it is because it's intangible, we need to do things to make it tangible. And having a hub and spoke relationship is what's going to help you do that, because what you want to do is first start off and think about what are all the different things that I provide to a client of my firm. All the different components of financial planning, estate planning, investment planning, portfolio development and management, dealing with the outside attorney, the outside accountant, working with the bank, maybe helping them on lending issues, dealing with the adult children so that they understand that the plan that is in place is actually to their benefit, and helping to allow the clients to communicate appropriately about what will happen when something happens to them, as the passing on of the estate to the heirs, and so on and so forth, and all the collection of items that you do for people. All of those things are orbiting around. They're, again, hub and spoke, earth and orbit, however you want to think about it. They're orbiting around that relationship. And when you're building out that storyline for your customer, you want to be able to illustrate how these things will work for them. And that's what brings it to life. That's what helps to make you referable and introducible, so that they will bring you introductions. And we have a group here under the USA Financial umbrella called Protocol. And that's what Protocol spends a ton of time on, is helping make sure that you truly are referable and helping you duplicate your best clientele. And that's the other thing you want to think about as you talk to yourself or talk to your business partners, as the case might be, about what your hub and spoke business model should look like. You need to know who is your customer, because you don't know what spokes to build out on and what spokes to emphasize unless you know about your customer. And the best way to start on that is figure out and identify, and in fact, you can do it right now. Grab a piece of paper or do it after this conversation and list out let's say your top 5 or 10 customers. And then let's try to start thinking about What is it that they have in common? Why do you like these customers? Why are they your top customers? You probably have a very good relationship with them. They probably trust your advice and follow the advice that you give them. They probably have different psychographic and demographic things in common. Maybe they have certain industries that they come from. Maybe you're very good with engineers, or maybe you don't have any engineers for your clientele. Maybe you're very good with teachers. Maybe you don't have any teachers. Maybe you're very good with other business owners and entrepreneurs. Maybe you're very good with blue collar. Maybe you're very good with white collar. It doesn't really matter, but you're going to find some commonality in there. Now, you might also find some other things, like maybe they're all very conservative, or maybe they're all very liberal. You might find that I had a gentleman years ago, unfortunately, he's passed away, but what he found was that he was very successful at working with widows. So when a husband died and the widow felt like the financial plan was never developed for her, or she just found that she didn't know where to turn, he was able to develop plans for widows that helped them through a very difficult time of their life. And he found that that was actually a niche that he had. And so once he identified that, well, then there's things you can do, and you can cater your hub and spoke model to the type of client that you are supporting. And you, again, will probably find some geographic things in there as well. Now that's becoming less and less an issue nowadays, with everything being digital and being able to do Zoom meetings and everything that happened during the pandemic and so on and so forth. People are getting more comfortable with having a conversation, kind of like this, as opposed to face to face. So geography isn't as important as it used to be, but still, you might find that, you have a lot of clientele who are snowbirds, or whatever the case might be. So it's important to know who your client is, because ultimately that's going to dictate what spokes need to come off your hub in order to properly support them and service them. Now, what I'm going to do in a moment is I'm going to share a screen. I'm going to show you our hub and spoke business model. Now, I will walk you through and explain it to you so it makes sense. But the real key is think in terms of how you would apply the same concept to your business. It's interesting, for those of you working with USA Financial, some of this. If you aren't, this will be some new material for you. But again, it's great. Take it for what it is, but concentrate on how would I duplicate this within my business. So let me share this view with you. So as you can see on the top of this page here, this is our hub and spoke business model. And we actually illustrate it as if it is a hub and spoke, because that is the analogy that we want to bring across to you, a financial advisor who is our customer. And you're literally right here in the center. And we use the acronym or the slogan, Power Your Legacy, because everything we do is to help you power your legacy. Because as a financial advisor, the number one asset you have and are growing is your business. And so by the way, I'm looking over this way because this is where the screen is for the page I'm showing you. So I apologize for that. But I'll try to kind of go back and forth between the camera and the page as I'm talking to you. But imagine yourself in the center of this hub and spoke. I'm going to start over here at 9 o'clock, and I'll work our way around clockwise and give you a quick explanation of what it is we're doing here, and then we'll bring this back into your direct world and talk about how you can do it as well. So the first item here is securities. USA Financial Securities is both a corporate registered investment advisor as well as a independent broker dealer, member FINRA SIPC and all that good stuff. Basically what happens here is if you are a registered rep, or if you are an investment advisor representative, USA Financial Security can be your affiliated institution, in which we will handle all of your oversight, supervision, provide you the platforms, provide you the technology, all the good stuff that goes along with that. And here we have an independent broker-dealer, a registered investment advisor. It is duly registered. So we have most of our advisors that we work with are in fact duly registered as well, meaning that they are a registered representative. They have a Series 6 or a Series 7. And then they are also an investment advisor representative having a Series 65 or a 66. Now, some of them are strictly broker-dealer representatives, so they're just registered reps. They don't have an AUM license, a Series 65 or 66. And then others are reversed. They have their IAR and they do not have their Series 7 or 66. So they're not a registered rep. They're an IAR simply as opposed to being duly. Now, others might be a hybrid. So they're a registered rep, but then they have their own RIA. So they're not an investment advisor representative of securities, but they are of their own RIA, and that's a possibility. But then if they are not a registered rep at all, and they're not an IAR because they have their own RIA, well, then they would opt out of this particular spoke, if you will. But regardless, that always kind of fits in with all of the other spokes that are going on. So here's Formulas. USA Financial Formulas is also another registered investment advisor, but more importantly, it is a third-party asset manager. So we are the third-party formulaic asset manager. Everything we do is very formulaic. It tends to be equity-based. There is no requirement for advisors to work with formulas, but the vast majority of advisors who are affiliated with us in some way, shape, or form do use the formulas models within the portfolios that they develop for their customers, for their investors. But it's designed to fit a certain niche, and it does so very successfully. But as we move over here to the right, you also see we have USA Financial Exchange. Now, this, once again, is yet another registered investment advisor, but this one is a platform. This is actually a TAMP, a turnkey asset management program, where we have other institutional asset managers who use us as their backbone. We have vetted these different entities so that they are on our system. We bring all their various models over with us, and one of those asset managers happens to also be USA Financial Formulas. So it is one of the multiple of asset managers that are available on exchange. The beauty here is you can have a single account and you can have a portfolio built within that account from multiple asset managers, hundreds of different models side by side. You can trade in and out of them. You can change the portfolios with just some strokes on the computer keyboard, if you will. But you have all of the benefits of USA Financial Exchange as a TAMP platform, yet still can be represented or affiliated with USA Financial Securities, and also can still be using formulas. So we're kind of adding these spokes. Then we jump down to insurance services. So this is what many in the industry would call an IMO or an FMO. We're handling all of the distribution from annuities and life insurance, and taking over the service and support and marketing from the insurance companies to assist and work with financial advisors to make sure they understand and are able to use insurance products and annuity products, fixed index annuities, inside of the overall plan that they're making for their customers and the portfolios that they're developing. So these top four are all about helping you gather and manage the various assets on behalf of your practice and in conjunction with and in support of your customers, your investors. Then down here, we start getting into some of the other things that are a little bit more behind the scenes. They're there to support your practice in all different facets. USA Financial Marketing is a cross-platform multimedia marketing firm. It helps you with your branding, your direct response, your digital solutions, your lead generation. It'll help you fill seminar rooms. It'll help you handle your social media content and provide your social media content. It'll help you run, as we can host your websites for you if you'd like. And the list literally just goes on and on in terms of all of the things that are done to help you propel your practice forward and help you grow and break through the next ceiling. Next to that here, we have Financial HQ. HQ is our fintech development firm. We do the curation of integrated technologies and the tools that are out there in the marketplace. Basically, what this means is that we have a lot of homegrown technology programs and systems that we have built ourselves that are proprietary to us. We also have out there the conduit, if you will, between other major successful tools in the financial services space, making sure they can all communicate well together. So whether it's trying to integrate Redtail into some of the other things that you're doing, or whatever the case might be, all of these different tools being able to communicate together well in conjunction with each other. And then finally, over here to the left, we have USA Financial Protocol. And Protocol is our business refinement and practice management consulting arm. We help you with valuations. We help you with succession. We help you with accumulation or asset acquisition is probably a better way to say that. So acquiring new assets, acquiring new clients, how to make yourself referable, how to duplicate your top 20 clients over and over and over again. All of the coaching and consulting networks through the rest of our tools, all of the hubs and the spokes off this hub that I'm talking about. So here's a real live example of how we are doing it in that space. But now let's come back to dealing with you specifically and what you're doing in your practice. You want to think the same way. So earlier I talked about making that list up of all the different things that you do and identifying, what exactly do you have in there. So you've got financial planning, you've got estate planning, you've got insurance planning, you've got social security planning, you've got long-term care planning, you've got emergency planning of different sorts. You've got all of the different things that you do in terms of building out portfolios and investments and product. You've got all the risk management components you have. You've got all of the service components and the different things that you do. As we talked about earlier, you're probably interacting on behalf of them with their CPA and with their estate planning attorney and so on. So all of these become not only just your offerings, it's a menu to a certain degree, but we want to make the customer realize that this stuff is all in orbit around them. Now, it doesn't all need to be used at once, and most of it, has its point in time in which it's important. But over the lifetime of your relationship with them, probably they will be touched by each and every one of these spokes that you're creating. You want to make sure that they understand they are the center of your universe. This is the business model that you are built on. And it's important because this is an intangible environment, as I said, and this is how you create tangibility in an intangible environment. And this is what then provides some jet fuel to the ongoing valuation of your practice. And RARE, as we're here to talk about, RARE stands for recurring and repeatable events, a business model supercharged by recurring and repeatable events. And this is how we get there, by developing the systems and the processes so that now we can keep duplicating them for each and every client. So it's a bunch of planets with all this orbiting going around. We're providing the orbiting. This is what you are doing, and we'll help you get there, is what I mean by that when we say we'll provide it. We're working together with you to make sure that you as the advisor is able to provide this orbiting. So I hope this makes some sense. I hope that helps you think about your business in a little different way. And if you like this, please subscribe. Please give us a thumbs up. Much appreciated. And we'll be back again in the near future to talk about more of this stuff. Thank you.